All right, so we are going to call this meeting to order Wednesday, March 16th at 7 p.m. Number 3, attendance and appointment of alternates. We are all here today. That's our alternate. Thank you very much. Approval of agenda. We do have 2 items we need to add. So if I could have a motion to add the emergency funding for Broadbrook Pond.
Make a motion to add the emergency funding for the Broadbrook Pond repair.
Okay, under new business.
New business.
Second. Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I know that's why.
I know, like Monson. The motion passes. All right, and then we need also a motion to add the corrective action plan for the Board of Education under new business.
I will get the under new business, the corrective action plan for the Board of Education.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion clearly passes. All righty, now if we could have an approval of the agenda as amended.
I will approve agenda as amended.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, so we're on to number 5, approval of minutes, regular meeting, February 16th. A motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from February 16th, 2022.
For a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. On to number 6, public participation. All right, we're on to number 7, communications. I have none. Okay, wow. Looking right along. All right, number 8, monthly reports. A, town FY 21-22 financial reports.
Anybody have any questions? Things are pretty much the same as they've been the last 3 or 4 months. Nothing earth shattering happening on the town side.
I didn't see anything that stuck out for me, so.
Nothing major. All right, so we'll move on to 8B, DOE FY 21-22 financial reports.
What should be included in here?
That it is. Any questions from anybody? Anything, Patrick, you want to touch on, or are you good?
I mean, the budget's in not good shape right now, I can tell you, because our interim business manager didn't start till after January, so we are just starting to draw down our grants. So prior to that, any of our grants hadn't been drawn down, so we're in the process of drawing down many of our salaries. So that'll be reflected over the next months as well. So.
Anybody else? 8C, CIP committee project request letter.
So this is way prettier on the scan than it is on this.
I was gonna
But,
say.
so this is the $1.4 million they asked for next year, which currently is in the proposal, I think, at 930. So, or 950. So there will be a bunch of projects not funded just because the amount of funding is never enough. So, but this is the list where you guys were asking about what the highest priority was. Jay talked about it in his letter, supporting the transfer.
Yep.
But I wanted you guys to have the whole list. I think you guys had gotten it earlier, but that's also in your budget books, if you have your big fat budget books with you. Under the CIP section.
Anything on that, anybody? All right, then we are on to 8D FY 21-22 transfers. That's the one that we discussed last time, which you asked Jason to come and explain, which he did in the letter form, why he feels it's important, but he's also
I'm here too.
If you have any questions, let me complete my statement. So if you have any questions, he is here to answer them for you too.
I mean, it makes sense. Moving forward. It's 21st century, and I guess we for the 21st century.
That would be good. That would be good. Anybody else?
No, but thank you, Jason, for putting it together.
Nothing? Wow. Your letter was good.
I write better than next week.
All right, so if everybody is good with the letter and good with Jason's explanation, then you can make a motion. Somebody,
Yeah, I'm working. I move to approve transfer request number 13 for fiscal year 2021-2022. The amount of $45,000 from planning to VIP allocation.
no, from least
Lease,
purchase.
sorry, lease
Lease
purchases,
purchase.
yes, I'm sorry. From under planning department, lease purchases to CIP allocation.
Is there a second? All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so motion passes. And we have 14 that goes with it.
Thank you very much.
I move we approve transfer request number 14 from CIP to the planning record digitalization in the amount of $45,000.
Second?
Second.
All right, any more discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now we are on to number 15, planning, additional consulting fees due to position vacancies.
I will move we approve transfer request number 15 from the planning department full-time salary line to professional services in the amount of $28,800. Sorry, $20,800.
Is it, okay, a second? All right, any discussion? I think we've also talked about this.
I think that's just to pay for the consultant.
Yeah, that's the paper, Mike.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Now on to number 16, which is for the diversity council with a transfer of 500.
So we actually have new councils that were, commissions that were created after the budget process that didn't have recording secretaries. So I realized I needed them when I created next year's budget, but then we realized we didn't have any money for this year's budget. So I'm moving it from contingency in both cases to start their line items for them.
All right, so I'll move we approve transfer request number 16 from contingency to the recording secretary of the diversity council for $500.
Second. Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. On to 17.
Move we approve transfer request number 17 from contingency to recording secretary for arts and culture commission for the amount of $500.
Second. Any discussion? And all those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Motion passes. And number 18, social services.
We've had some situations happen this year that we are paying for housing for people long-term that have been displaced by either condemning or fires. So we have spent all the general assistance money we have already, and we still have 2 active cases that we are covering.
I'll move we approve transfer request number 18 from contingency to social services general assistance line in the amount of $10,000.
Second. All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now, 8E on to reconciliations. Where are they?
Work through January on the town side. And February's been a little late getting stuff. I don't know what's going on. But in the interfunds, I'm working with Pat West over at the Board of Ed to get that stuff all booked. I worked with the Board of Ed yesterday. done.
All right, so number 9, Board of Selectmen, updates and referrals.
Is this where you want Len and I to do the Robert Mill or Robert Pond?
No, we put that under new business.
So,
You give your budget out if you want.
So we are required, Patrick and I, I'm sorry, Dr. Tutor and I are required by charter to present our budgets tonight to you guys. We are also going to be actually giving a presentation on what the budgets entail next week. But this is the budget message that was filed with the town clerk Friday. It is, I've been told, a little dense, but Patrick's is significantly longer. So if there are questions or comments that you guys have on this, or if there is anything in particular that you want me to elaborate on Wednesday, just let me know, hopefully by the end of the week, so I have time to put some thoughts together. But I gave a relatively comprehensive presentation to the Board of Selectmen. I'm going to adapt that predominantly to reflect the changes that the selectmen made to my budget presentation. But if there are specific things that you guys would like more information or a deeper dive on, just let me know by the end of the week and I'll make sure I have that ready for Wednesday.
I read what you emailed us, and I do like the way it's explained very well. And, appreciate that. Matched up line items and whatnot, so I thought it was very nice. Thank you.
It's actually outlined in the charter, the format that I'm supposed to follow. Some of it's a little redundant, but it's specific in the charter, so I tried to follow that to the letter. So that's why I repeated some things a couple of times. But again, anything that I can make more transparent or offer some more explanation, I'm happy to provide that. Just give me that heads up.
Let you know.
Thank you. And right now, that's it, other than Robert Pond, nothing else for a heads up.
Not that I can think of, no. We're dealing with some other non-finance related things at the moment. And I don't even think there's anything that might become finance related in the short term. But I will communicate that if there is anything that does emerge. Coming up into year end, so that's always, things pop up then.
Yep. All right, so we're on to number 10, Board of Education updates and referrals.
So you have the budget booklet. I can tell you the budget message begins on page 5. That is a product of the various workshops through the Board of Education. Try to break it down by department and provide a narrative that's informative on the spending. So certainly we'll be giving the presentation next Wednesday. Similar to Jason, though, if anyone from the group has any feedback as far as wanting additional clarity or information, certainly please reach out by the end of the week. Certainly want to make sure that you get the necessary information that you need to understand the information that's being presented.
I'll just speak briefly. I looked at what was emailed to us, and I've never seen a chart like this that kind of breaks it out. So, before we're trying to put things in, it's great to see the percentages. I really like what you sent to us so far, so hopefully we'll smooth it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that feedback.
Anything else?
Yes, so we did, we hired a business manager. So definitely excited. His name is Ryan Galloway. He will be starting at the end of the month. He's coming from Ledger, so he has experience with accounts payable, payroll. He's been kind of a right-hand person under the finance director. So this will be a step up, but certainly has the necessary certification and relative experience. Has experience with Munis, which was certainly something that we are looking for, and conversations with his references from Ledger. Appears that Ledger went through a similar process as far as transition difficulties with Munis, and he was part of the turnaround. Looking at all that positive, we are working on a transition plan because we have our interim business manager, Wes, so she will stay on for a couple of weeks with that. And then Sherry, was a consultant that I utilized to assist with the completion of the budget audit. Certainly, Amy certainly deserves credit and work as far as assisting with that process too, along with Wes. But Sherry knows the audit very well, and certainly it's going to keep her on, because as further agenda items, there's some corrective actions that needed, and just really don't want to dump that into someone's lap while being fresh. And so certainly want to have a transition plan. So we're addressing the necessary things and getting our operations upright and where they should be, so that it's we're doing things going forward. And then just updates as far as school. This is the first week we are maskless by option. I can tell you, yesterday I was at Broadbrook Middle School. Today I was at high school. It's been going very well. I can tell you, every school has its own identity as far as like choice and options. It's kind of interesting. That being said, regardless of students at mass or not, or staff, I mean, they're interacting as normal. I mean, the biggest thing I can tell you as a superintendent, I'm proud to say that regardless of where people stand, there's an overall sense of belonging, interaction, things are as normal as can be. Obviously it's something that we'll monitor. We're starting to loosen the restrictions. I can tell you we don't have any, we removed restrictions for band and chorus. Graduation, actually based on feedback last year, graduation for high school will continue to be outside. Moving forward with prom, looking at senior trip right now. Those are initial plans. So we're excited about things moving forward. Continuing to monitor our positive numbers. I believe we had 9 positive cases last week, and that includes all staff and students. The previous weeks before that, I think it was 2, and I think it was 9 or 10. So 10 or less out of the, when you consider students and staff, we're talking about 1,400. Our numbers are still very low, and we'll continue to monitor it. But glad to report that it's feeling more like traditional school.
Thank you. Anybody? All right, so we're on to 11, new business. So we need to appoint Board of Finance member, 1 to police union contract negotiations, 1 to supervisors union pension negotiations, and 1 to public works union pension negotiations. Jason?
Might make your life easier if you appoint somebody to a pensions negotiation team. And we tackle both of them together. We're not going to negotiate them together, but rather than unless you want to do 3 appointments. I need a team.
Yep.
With a Board of Finance representative. There can be redundancy there.
Yep. So supervisors and public works, you said that you would try to do because that would most likely fit in your timeline better because things are going to start to ramp up.
Yes.
So.
That's the one I was thinking.
So the question was, Jason, is when you expect things to start to get going in both aspects of the pension negotiations?
So
And how long? Well, I know,
how
you
long
know
is
what I
how
mean,
long?
you know.
So the 2 bargaining units that are outstanding, I'll take them separately. The first, the supervisors union has expressed an interest in doing what's called off the record negotiations, which is typically a subset of the negotiation team meets without counsel, and they meet without union representation and see, where everybody stands is completely off the record. Everything that's said in those circumstances don't carry forward if the conversation goes to an on the record setting. My experience dealing with that union has been very easy to work with. Historically, it's been a little bit more difficult, but there have been some leadership changes there that have made it a much more amicable dynamic to work with. We did their labor contract in 3 weeks for probably a total of probably 5 hours. Amy and I, very early in my tenure, actually negotiated the DPW labor contract with Len. We did that one off the record as well, and that was 2 sessions, 2 2-hour sessions, I think. So neither of these bargaining units have proven to be very contentious so far. That could always change. You never know what the circumstances are, but I don't see any reason why this one will be any more. These 2 would be any more difficult. The police union labor negotiations are likely. I'm not even going to attempt to do those off the record. Those are going to be full formal from the get-go. The last time that took 2 years to formalize. I I don't expect it'll take 2 years, but I don't expect we'll do anything at all off the record.
And it does, and the police union one is a lot of time. Major time. So that said, yes, you can supervise. You
Yeah,
say you do.
that's all. Yeah.
So if we could have a motion to appoint Bill to the pension negotiation team.
Make a motion to appoint Bill to the pension negotiation.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion clearly. Motion clearly passed. All right, so the next one is for the police union contract negotiations. And like I said, in a lot of it, most of it, I think last time we did it was during the day.
Yeah.
So it's during the day and it's time consuming, so it can be hard. Not gonna lie. And when do we usually start?
We've already got the demand to negotiate, which is
Okay.
an unfair term because it implies that things are starting off
Right,
from an
it's just
unamicable position. It's just a
yeah.
vernacular, but when you get a demand to negotiate, the union comes to management and they formally notify you, they want to start the conversation and they ask for a litany of information that you then turn over. And everybody caucuses after that. So they've already sent the demand. Their contract is up on June 30th, so we'll probably look to have the first formal, like the rule setting meeting probably next month, but we haven't heard from them in that space yet. Certainly before the end of the fiscal year.
I've done it once. If nobody can, I will do it again and I will figure out how to make it work. But is there anybody interested? I can commit to it if it's during the day.
If it makes things easier, we can utilize Zoom now.
That's true. Oh, that's a little easy. Oh, I can't make a motion for myself.
We have Jerome Corso be our representative to the police union contract negotiation.
I will gladly second that.
I'll buy you dinner. Last time. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah, motion clearly passes.
Thank you.
All right.
So that's Bill for both the pension and for police.
Yes.
Excellent, thank you.
So our
Thank you
next
very
two Adam items, I have the paperwork for here.
All right, sounds good.
There's apparently.
For you.
I already looked at it.
I'll find that.
You never know how to get it.
So from the temperature that I referred you to First Selectman Bowser. And he has a suggestion box in his office.
He's harassed me. All right, so we did Broadbrook Pond first. So then, Joe, Jason, who would like to go?
There, in addition to this, there were pictures. I didn't print them.
I drove by
yet,
it tonight.
I drove it.
I'm first going to apologize. I wasn't in the office today, so I have nothing with me.
You want
What?
this?
It's here for now.
You sure?
So, I don't know if anybody has driven up Depot Street in the past few days.
10.5 hours.
I live there.
Okay, it's ugly. Okay, about 50 or 75 feet or so of the top of the wall of the, it's a red stone retaining wall, and the chain link fence that was along Depot Street is the fence posts are bored into those stones. Well, 50, 75 feet, whatever, fell into the pond. The Monday morning, actually, we got a call, and I think that's when it happened. And it's not good. We have the sidewalk barricaded from about where the driveway entrance is to the little park there down to Main Street. We have mafia blocks, we have barricades, we have yellow caution tape, we have chain link fence we have everything there, but you know, someone's gonna hop over everything and walk down there and end up in the pond.
Well, and it's skinny too, like the two rows that you drive
also-
on are skinny.
It's, the roads are skinny and the distance between where the fence was and where the sidewalk is very small.
Yeah.
So as the problem, if the problem continues to grow, it's gonna get a lot more expensive. than
And
around.
it's,
Anti-traffic.
and it is, that sidewalk is very high traffic.
Yeah.
That very high traffic, and that's, it has to be fixed. And the plan is, we're going to remove the rest of those, it's like a cap block, and it's kind of hanging over the rest of the retaining wall. So we're removing the rest of the cap block and the chain link fence. We're pouring, the plan is now to pour, we're gonna do something a little different than the plan you have there. I'm trying to save money. So we're going to pour basically a sidewalk with a haunch that comes down and rests on the top of the actual wall underneath the cap. And replace the sidewalk, replace the chain link fence, and we got to rip the guardrails out or guide rails out to do the work. So we got to replace the guide rail, and we're going to replace the guide rail with a real guide rail now instead of the, you know, 2 cable wooden post. And the sidewalk, and we're going to fix the sidewalk all the way down into Main Street. You have an estimate there that's like $500,000. I'm trying to get it closer to 4, if not less, with the new design, but there are no guarantees. This is like when you go into an old house and start to renovate, things happen. We're pretty sure we have a good handle on it, but we've hired a contractor that actually did the dam work for us, did the emergency repair on South Water Street for us, and then got in and out of there in like 2 or 3 weeks when people were thinking we were going to be down there for a month or 2. So these guys, and I called them and said I had a problem. They came up and looked at it that day, and we are right in their window. They're in between projects. If they didn't do it in these next 2 weeks or so, they wouldn't get to it till probably fall. And I honestly don't know who else I'd trust to do this. I don't have time to put it out to bid. And I don't know who would bid it and who I would trust to do it. This is kind of an important thing. And Depot Street's gonna be closed during the day for the next couple of weeks while we do, just from Emily to the Main Street, we're gonna direct the cars around. It's not a big detour. So playing by the rules, I notified DEEP that I'm going to lower the pond level a couple of feet, because normally when we do that, we get into trouble. So, and I actually got a response from someone who understands the urgency and didn't tell me it was going to take 2 months to get a permit, because the job would be done by then. So I'm working with him. He has some questions. I wasn't in the office today, but I read the email on my phone tonight. I'm going to respond to him tomorrow. And there's a portion of sidewalk in the state right of way, which is Main Street and Broadbrook. I need an encroachment permit to fix that, but that shouldn't be a problem either. We've worked with these people before, so the problem is the money. So
Never.
The good news is,
There is good.
well, I mean, the highball
World is
estimate,
caving in, but there is good.
the highball estimate is $497,000. The fund balance is, and what you'll see in the audit next week when you actually get the audit from the auditor, is we are again in excess of the maximum allowed under our fund policy. So we will have to spend some money out of that in order to stay within the confines of our own policy anyway. This is an emergency circumstance, and what better use of surplus funds than actually to cover an emergency. So this isn't going to be something that's crippling to our finances or to our fund balance position or anything like that. We've got the money, we have to spend some of it, and now we have to spend some of it.
I have a question. I mean,
It came around after
just
Monday.
in my mind, I mean, obviously, is this an erosion problem, or is this the stone?
no, this is an old old stone cap problem. It was, we could see, you know, when we did the dam, we could see there was gonna be some work that we were gonna have to do there. You know, it's like everything else. You can see you're gonna have to do some repairs. I have no idea why that just fell over Monday morning. The other ones that are there, quite frankly, seem to be quite secure. And if you actually look at it, when the chain link fence went over, I mean, when the first blocks went over and dragged the fence with it, the fence is still attached.
Yeah.
And it's attached going up the street in both directions. So the other blocks or stones must be fairly well secured for now, because the whole thing didn't just like a domino kind of thing, just pull it all over into the pond. So it's and the wall below this cap section looks really good. I mean, there's no issues in it. When we had the drawdown for the dam, I mean, we inspected that and it looked really good, and we saw that we were gonna have to fool with the cap a little bit, but we didn't think it was gonna have to be this soon, you know?
So, because like I said, you know, reading this and trying in my mind figure how you can do it. So you're gonna be able to lower the pond enough so you can fix a cap, so you don't have to lower it all the way down to.
No, we don't even need to. I don't want to say this, and nobody from DEP is hopefully on. Could we do the job without lowering the pond? Probably.
Yeah.
We're probably 1.5 or 2 feet above the level of the pond where we're going to be working. The reason we want to lower the pond is so the contractor can put like a row of blocks against the wall right there in the pond and use that as a working platform, because they have to do some forming and stuff for the concrete. They got to drill dowels into the stone. And so that's the only reason we're lowering the water, just enough to get some blocks in so that they can put a working platform there.
Okay. The only reason I'm asking, because I just want to make sure we're not just doing an emergency fix, that we're doing, you know, if we have to do, I'm asking because are we spending enough money to do the job so we don't have to do this again?
Yes,
We're
yes,
doing-
that's why,
We're not just doing an emergency fix just to patch this and then.
no,
Sorry about it.
No, we're doing this.
we're ripping off the cap all the way along the pond,
Okay.
putting in it's gonna be basically a single pour,
Okay.
monolithic. It's gonna be a sidewalk coming across. There's gonna be a haunch. It's gonna come down and rest and be tied in with rebar right down into the existing good wall that's below it. And that's gonna go the length of the walk where the wall is. And then we're gonna fix the rest of the walk in both directions as far as we can. And
So the base is, well, I guess what I was getting at, the base of it below down in the water is good,
Yes.
safe, no problems there.
the rest of it was good. And we will, once we get the water down a little bit, when we have our contractor out there, we'll take a look at it. We'll make doubly sure that, you know, once we get the water down a couple of feet and we can look at the rest, but we did look at it, what's that now, 3 years ago, probably? Yeah. So we were confident that the wall itself is solid.
Well, thank you for responding quickly, because to your point, I mean, there's a lot of kids and stuff that walk there, they walk to school, they go that way, so Patrick, maybe want to take note for the buses, because I know they come down there, and then if the road's gonna be closed. but-
Well, we did, actually, I wasn't in the office, as I said, but I got it, my administrative assistant already sent out emails to Annie in Patrick's
You
office.
guys are
and-
good.
Yeah, we
And
already
told
received
everybody
how many
that the
buses
buses need to
was
go.
notified.
Yeah.
You guys are good.
Appreciate that.
To Len's credit, we found out about this on Monday morning and he had a proposed solution in place on Monday morning,
Yeah,
including like the company that could do the work. The urgency with which Len moved on this is awesome.
I completely agree.
All right, anybody else?
No, we need his money.
Yeah, they need a motion. Amy, so we're doing the 500,000
Out of,
Authorize an additional appropriation.
appropriation and to go to town.
No,
No, it's an
no.
emergency, so I don't have to do that, right? Because
No,
the-
we're still going
Board
to
of
do the town
Selectmen.
meeting process. So you guys just need to approve the authorization and recommend it to us.
Right.
We will take that up tomorrow night and we'll do the ministerial work of forwarding it to a town.
I'm kind of doing it backwards because it's important.
so. Do you want to do it first? Do you have it in your head? Looked like you were ready.
I'll make a motion to approve $500,000 for the Depot Street sidewalk chain link fence repair project,
Retaining wall.
retaining wall
And
project,
to
yes.
move to this, right?
And forward to the board of selectmen for further approvals.
All right. Any other discussion?
I would just, I don't know if we want it friendly and then it up to 500,000. If Lenny can get it cheaper. would be great.
No, he.
No,
it's
we
okay,
need the
way
dollar
it is.
amount.
Okay, you need this piece out.
Okay.
All right, anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, so we are on to our other added agenda item, Board of Ed Corrective Action Plan. I might look to you to put it in English. I said I might look at you. Or Patrick, somebody to put it in better English. So, do you guys have any questions?
I read it earlier today. Before I came to the- I mean, I think you addressed the issues. I mean, it sounds like you have a plan. I mean, I don't think some of these came as a surprise to some of us, but I mean, looks like you got it figured out. And
Yeah, I mean, talking with the auditor throughout the process, I haven't had an exit interview and, I'll be bouncing around, so I'll just apologize. And the reason I haven't had an exit interview, my conversation with the auditor is that I have been in frequent conversations, so I feel like I have a good understanding of where we need to make improvements and corrections. And to me, like, more importantly for the exit interview wasn't so much what took place last year, but more like what needs to be put in place so that this doesn't happen next year. And for that, really want the business manager to be part of those conversations. So we had agreed that, like, really my exit interview would be including that person as well. And we were looking more at mid-April for that conversation. That being said, I've been in conversation with him quite frequently. Feedback I've received is with the reorganization of our business office. Much of that is stressing the issues that need to be corrected.
so it's sad that we got to this, but I mean, thank you for having a plan. I mean, you can't change the past, but like I said, as long as you got a plan going forward.
No, I mean, there's a lot of work to do, but we know what the work is, and I'm confident we'll get it done.
I'm confident we'll do.
And so what I asked, hopefully, which didn't happen last time, is that monthly you can update us on how you're doing on your corrective action plan, instead of deciding that that was not important to us. Maybe some of these would not be here now if we had worked as a team, so hopefully we'll get there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And obviously, I can't speak to the former,
Exactly.
but I can
Absolutely.
speak to the present.
All that matters. Anybody else?
No, I will just say, Patrick, this is a much better, much more impressive plan than the last one.
It does look much different than the last one.
It's a whole lot.
Absolutely.
The ones you bought.
All right, anybody else?
We need to approve.
No. That's a plan.
It's already been filed, right?
Yeah, so so the way it works, well, the way it's been explained to me that it works, is that I provided to the auditor, and he's actually the one that sends it to me. So that was the conversation. So I went to him. I can tell you, we finished this about 3:40. He had it. I called, I checked in with him, just want to make sure from his standpoint, it was good. Wanted to make sure I had his blessing before I sent it to the Board of Ed. or to Amy to see if it could be an added agenda item for the Board of Finance. Certainly, I was conscientious that I know who's reporting on the findings next week and felt strongly it was important that you have information ahead of time as far as understanding, we know that there's corrective action and, this is our plan.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, so we're on to number 12, unfinished business. Anything other than, I have none. So then 13, board member comments. Anything?
I just want to echo both Bill and Tom Talamini to have such transparency and see good action plans. When we found out about this 2 years ago, and then there was apparently nothing that was being done, and we were powerless to do anything, it's so reassuring now to see it being taken care of. So thanks to you and your, staff that's going to be working on this.
You're welcome, but we still have a lot of work to do. So, it hasn't, but, we have the plan, so the work.
But you're heading in the right direction.
Next step.
One foot at a time. One step at a time. That's
Is that your comment?
That's my comment. Well, Chinese, I'm not going to see it.
All right. David?
No, I'm good. I'm ready to go for a budget.
Yeah. George?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right, Karen? Nicole?
I echo everything, and I think I've said everything throughout the meeting, and thanks, Bill, for the motions, appreciate you.
All right, so upcoming meeting dates, do not forget. We have the budget public hearing on March 23rd at 7 p.m. So the Board of Ed and Board of Selectmen will present their budgets. And then we will have a workshop right after the public hearing. The following dates are the remaining of our
The
workshops.
23rd will also be the auditor presentation. That's right, on that budget workshop. The
It's
23rd,
gonna be a
after the
busy-
public hearing.
It's gonna be a busy night.
I'm leaving the budget workshop part of it kind of light because we have the auditor first.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's it. So number 15, motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? Motion passes. We're out. See you next week. See you next week. Oh, yada, 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 yada.
Thank you again, Mary Lynn, for taking the